So welcome to this Executive Master of Business Administration webinar with the University of Northampton and myself, Professor Tim Campbell. What we'd like to do for tonight's webinar is just spend about 15 minutes talking to you about the Northampton programme from my perspective, from somebody who teaches on the programme and looks after it locally, and then we'll look at some questions as well. But just before I get on to talking about Northampton, just a word about Stafford, just to make the distinction clear, because you'd be here tonight because from talking to academic consultants or marketing from Stafford. So just to be aware of what the company Stafford does, you would have had a look at the website, I'm sure, but it's the very first provider of distance learning education in the Middle East, established 30 years ago. Stafford has 6 partner universities, all British universities, and offers all sorts of programs from certificates all the way up to doctorates. And what Stafford does is offer marketing, recruitment, administration, student support services to help the partner universities locally. And that's exactly what Stafford does for the University of Northampton, because these are things that will be difficult for it to do from its home campus in the UK. But you do need to remember that once you enroll on the programme, you are entirely a student of the University of Northampton. That's where all your teaching comes from, your degree comes from, and everything else. So just a word about what Stafford does. And on to Northampton. The university itself you'll find just outside of the town of Northampton. Northampton's about 100 miles north of London. Takes about an hour on the train, and it's an old historic town, been around for a long time, appears in English history a lot. And it used to be just on the outside of the city. There was the University of Northampton campus, but back in 2018 they actually built a brand new campus, which is now right in the middle of the town. There's everything within those little red dots, so a very modern, advanced, technologically advanced campus with all sorts of facilities. So it really is quite a place, and hopefully somewhere where you go with when you graduate. And the university itself, well, education in Northampton dates back an awfully long time, back to the 13th century, and the modern University of Northampton's origins date back about 100 years. And it's now got about 14,000 students and 1,500 staff. But you can find out all about the history and all about Northampton by going to the university's website itself, which is where you can see all that information. Because what we're really here tonight to talk about, of course, is the EMBA programme. And if we take a look at the programme first, it's made up of 8 modules. And then you start with critical issues in business, which is also serves as an introductory module. So introduces you not only to critical issues in business, but also to academic skills as well, such as how to reference, writing assignments, how to do a literature review, all of this type of thing as well. So you start there, critical issues of business, and you make your way around the 8 modules until you finish with the business research project, which some of you would know as a dissertation. And not necessarily in this order, but you'll see you will cover all of these modules, and you'll see it's a nice mix of your traditional MBA program, which covers the functions of the business, such as finance, accounting, HRM, supply chain, marketing, etc. And also some good contemporary stuff there as well, such as innovation, leadership, and critical issues of these various things, various other issues such as risk and security and all sorts of things as well. So a nice mix of a traditional MBA program and the more contemporary subjects that we deal with in management these days. And how you actually go through the program, it takes about 18 months to get from critical issues in business all the way around to handing in your business research project. So each module is about 10 weeks apart. So then, whoops, go the right way. So there's 8 workshops. They're all taught face-to-face by UON professors, and they're taught over 2 days, Friday from 3 to 8 and Saturday from 9 to 5, because of the because we have the differences in weekends. In the UAE, the weekend Saturday, Sunday. Other parts of the Gulf, it's still Friday, Saturday. So we try to cater for everyone with those timings. So these workshops, they all start with a 2-day workshop face-to-face with your professor, and then you work using the university's virtual learning environment and hand in your assignments, and then you start with your next module. So you make your way around. So workshops about 10 weeks apart. The whole thing takes about 18 months. And the next start date isn't far away at all. We've got intake 32, which starts with critical issues workshop on the 17th of 18th of March 2023 here in the UAE. So it's intake 32. So we've been this Middle East North Africa intake for this program has been running for over 10 years now, coming up to 11 years. So that's how it's taught. That's the modules that you'll teach. What actually happens in the workshops, it depends on the subject and the tutor that's taking it. But generally it introduces key concepts, talk about short case studies, exercises, business games. Importantly, demonstrate where you could find the resources you need to do for your assignments and how to successfully complete your assignments as well. So generally speaking, that's what your tutors will do with you in those face-to-face sessions. And the student satisfaction with the workshops is very high, over 90%. So very good opportunity to meet your tutors and also other people on the MBA program as well. And then your assessment. All modules are assessed through some form of an assignment. So it might be an essay, a report, a case study. There's a multiple choice quiz as a part of the finance module. It could be a literature review. But whatever it is, it's some form of an assignment. It doesn't have any exams on this program. Northampton assesses through assignments because it's a better way of really allowing people to fully research their assignments and their answers and use the literature available rather than just using exams, which are more about how much you can remember. And then when you get to that final module, the business research project, that's about 12,000 words long, and that's your big dissertation. That's the big assessment you have for your MBA, for the EMBA program. Entry requirements, fairly standard for an MBA. Standard requirement is you have a bachelor's degree and 2 years relevant work experience. But for those who don't have a bachelor's degree, there is a non-standard route where we look for more years of work experience, of at least 5 years. And when I say relevant work experience, I mean they show some sort of managerial responsibilities, such as perhaps the planning of work, the organizing, leading of people, controlling of tasks, these sorts of things. You don't need to have the title manager. You may well just find that you do have managerial responsibilities. And if you've had 5 years relevant work experience, I'm sure you will have had these sorts of responsibilities that you can demonstrate. And there's plenty of support on the program. There's the program leader that comes from the University of Northampton itself, and that person teaches the business research module. So you'll meet that person face to face. There's also the local program leader, that's myself, and I just look after things locally because I live here in the UAE. And I also teach a module. I teach the Managing an OB module, so you'll see me on there. And then you've got expert module tutors for all of you, or for each one that you study. So whether it's marketing or finance or operations or whatever it is, you'll have an expert tutor for those modules. And then you've got all of the university's administration. And then if you need some help locally, we've also got the staff who can also point you in the right direction. The virtual learning environment that we use is called NILE, the Northampton Integrated Learning Environment. And that's where every module has one of these sites, and it's where we post lecture slides, videos, readings, resources, anything we think you need to actually to help you study with that module. And it's also where you submit your assignments and get your feedback. So it's all integrated into one point. And there's a very extensive online library. All the resources that you'll need, you will find using the university's online library. So everything is there for you to succeed. So just a few points about why the Northampton MBA, I should say the Northampton EMBA. It's a very competitive price for a taught program. Remembering you are taught face-to-face with fly-in faculty, and have a look at Stafford's website for the latest fee information, because it can change between intakes. So just to make sure you have the most up-to-date fees. Other good things about it are the duration. 18 months is about right for an MBA, for an EMBA program. It's designed for working professionals, so that gives enough time for people to balance their work and home lives with their studies, yet it's not too long that people lose motivation, or too short that it becomes very difficult to balance everything together. So So it's a good duration, 18 months. There's plenty of support, as I mentioned, great teaching, and assessment that is based on that you will really learn something, but also can apply to your workplace. So it strongly emphasizes vocational or job learning as well as theories. So this is attractive to employers who are more interested in practical knowledge, and also makes studying for the EMBA more enjoyable and relevant to the students. So it's a good thing about this Northampton EMBA program. It really does look at the practical side as well as the theories. It doesn't forget those, which is important for a master's program, but it really is focused on sort of the practical and job-related learning, stuff you can use every day. Okay, so I think I'm about right on time with that presentation. Oh, a little bit longer, but never mind. Let me just see if I've got any questions. The easiest way to do that is just to use the question box on the side there. Here we go. So I'll just read them out as I go through. Okay, first question. What is the difference between the Executive MBA and a General MBA? The Executive MBA is designed for working professionals and requires work experience to get onto the program. You can actually study a General MBA without any work experience at all. So the essential difference is EMBA is for working professionals. Do you accept exemptions based on extensive managerial work experience? Not on, or is it purely based on academics is the question. We don't have exemptions based on managerial work experience because, for example, you may have been in a marketing role for 20 years and think you've learned so much that you don't need to study the module. But I guarantee when you study the module, you will learn something new, and you may well not have come across a lot of the different theories that are there. So even though you'd have a great deal of experience and lots to write about in the assessment, there would still be something to learn. So we don't give exemptions based on managerial work experience, but we do on academics. So if you'd studied, for example, a marketing module at level 7, which is master's level somewhere before, then you may well be able to get an exemption for that module. Will the workshops cover the assignment topics? Yes, absolutely. That's a big aim of what we do in the face-to-face workshops. We talk about the assignment and tell you exactly what we want you to do to actually complete the assignment. And then we put all the information on the Nile site that I mentioned, the VLE, so that once we finish those face-to-face sessions, the students can be working on those assignments, knowing exactly what they need to do, and then they hand them in, and then they'll hand them in just before the next module starts. And of course, bearing in mind that your tutors are with you not just for the workshops, but all the way up until the module finishes for any questions or to look at drafts assignments or that type of thing. What is the maximum time that I can complete the MBA? So it takes 18 months, and I always tell the students that it's very important to keep up with the timetable. But if things do happen, and if you need to take a study break or something else, you can. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the maximum time to complete is 5 years for the MBA. There are 5 of us that want to start the program together. Will there be any discounts and fees if we all join? There could well be. Please talk to your academic consultant about that with Stafford, and that person will be able to look at that for you and see if there is any possibility to for any discount. And my last question is, I would like to know if there is a fully funded scholarship for the program for those fees in less developed countries. Thank you for understanding. Oh, I certainly do understand. I know it's not easy in some countries with the very difficult economic situations that there are, but unfortunately there's not any fully funded scholarships for this program. It is, we do, the fees that are given are as reasonable as can possibly be, is sort of the best I can put it. So unfortunately we don't have for this program. And I think that's all the questions already. But if something else does come to you, there's my email address. So you can be absolutely fine just to drop me an email at that address if anything else comes to you in the meantime. So that's the key points about the program. Thanks very much for listening. And as I say, I'm at all of the workshops, so I hope I'll see you at the next workshop starting in March. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.